Picture this. You show up to work on a Monday morning. Same desk, same coffee, same login screen you've stared at for 6 years. Except there's a meeting invite from HR sitting in your inbox, sent at 7:14 a.m. before most people even got out of bed. The subject line just says, "Quick chat, your role." You already know what it's about because 3 people on your floor got the same email last month, and they didn't come back. Here's the part nobody is putting in the headlines. It wasn't a recession that did it. The company isn't losing money. In fact, they just posted record profits. What happened was quieter than that, more polite, less dramatic. They just didn't need those people anymore because a piece of software was doing the same work faster, cheaper, without health insurance, without sick days, without ever asking for a raise. My name is Jack, and today we're going to talk about something most people are desperately not thinking about: which jobs AI is quietly eliminating right now in 2026, why it's moving faster than anyone predicted, and exactly what you need to do about it before it's too late. Stay with me, because around the middle of this video, I'm going to show you something that Microsoft's own AI chief said earlier this year that should genuinely change how you think about your career. Most people scrolled past it. You shouldn't have. Let's start with the honest numbers, because I think most people still believe this is a future problem. It's not. In 2025, companies directly cited AI as the reason for 55,000 job cuts in the United States. That's more than 12 times the number of AI-attributed layoffs just 2 years earlier. 12 times in 2 years. And those are just the ones companies admitted to. Oracle cut 25,000 jobs. Meta cut 16,000. Amazon cut 16,000. And Amazon's CEO said plainly in a memo that the company expects to keep shrinking its white-collar workforce as it invests in AI agents over the coming years. McKinsey, the firm that has spent decades advising other companies on who to let go, laid off 200 of its own people in late 2025. The cuts targeted back-office research, scheduling, compliance, and reporting, work that junior analysts used to spend weeks on, work that generative AI now finishes in minutes. If McKinsey is replacing its own people with AI, let that sink in for a second. After ChatGPT launched in late 2022, job postings for roles involving repetitive structured tasks dropped by 13%. Meanwhile, employer demand for analytical, technical, and creative work grew by 20%. The ground is already shifting, and the people who haven't noticed yet are the ones standing on the part that's moving the fastest. About 30% of US companies have already replaced workers with AI tools. Nearly 40% of companies that adopt AI choose automation over using AI to support their workers. And about 1 in 6 employers expect to reduce headcount specifically because of AI in 2026. This is not a prediction. This is a quarterly earnings call strategy. Let me walk you through exactly which roles are disappearing. And I want you to be honest with yourself while you listen to this list. Number 1, customer service representatives. Customer service roles have about a 45% risk of automation by AI-driven chatbots and query handling systems. Geoffrey Hinton, the man widely called the godfather of modern AI, said in a 2026 CNN interview that AI is already replacing jobs in call centers right now. Not soon, now. Think about the last time you actually spoke to a human being when you called a company. Think about how that number has quietly dropped over the last 3 years. Number 2, data entry and administrative roles. 7.5 million data entry and administrative roles could disappear by 2027 as AI tools replace repetitive office work. These aren't factory jobs. These are office jobs, desk jobs, the kind of job a lot of people got a degree to land. AI can now schedule meetings, summarize calls, manage inboxes, file documents, and generate reports. What used to take an admin assistant 40 hours a week now takes a software subscription about 40 seconds. Number 3, entry-level finance and accounting. Basic financial analysis, invoice processing, expense reconciliation, tax preparation for straightforward returns. All of this is being automated at scale. The Big Four accounting firms are already using AI to handle work that first-year analysts used to do, which means they're hiring fewer first-year analysts. Entry-level positions, data entry, basic financial analysis, and routine administrative tasks face the highest automation risk of any white-collar category. Number 4. Sales representatives. Between May 2024 and May 2025, the number of sales representatives in the US dropped by 4.8%. That's not a rounding error. That's nearly 1 in 20 sales jobs gone in a single year. AI can now write cold emails, qualify leads, follow up automatically, and manage CRM data with zero human involvement. Number 5. Graphic designers and content creators doing routine work. Not high-end creative directors, not brand strategists, but the people doing templated social media graphics, basic marketing materials, stock image selection, and repetitive visual content. AI image generation tools have gutted entry-level design work at a pace that would have seemed impossible 3 years ago. Number 6. Legal secretaries and paralegals doing document review. The Bureau of Labor Statistics specifically identified legal secretaries as one of the professions most impacted by AI adoption. Contract review, legal research, document summarization, AI handles all of this now at a fraction of the cost of a paralegal, billing $80 an hour. Number 7. Translators and interpreters. Interpreters and translators face a 98% risk of AI replacement, the highest of any profession tracked. With tools like DeepL, Google Translate, and GPT-4o handling real-time translation at near-human accuracy, the market for human translators has collapsed in the last 18 months. Number 8. Junior software developers doing routine coding tasks. This one surprises people, but the entry point into software engineering is getting dramatically harder. AI coding tools now write boilerplate code, debug common errors, and complete repetitive development tasks that used to justify hiring junior developers. Software engineering headcount in the tech sector has slowed to just 2% annual growth since ChatGPT's release, after years of double-digit hiring. Every generation has had a version of this conversation. The ATM was going to eliminate bank tellers. The internet was going to eliminate travel agents. Spreadsheets were going to eliminate accountants. And yes, all of those things happened, partially. Some jobs shrank, new ones appeared, and the world adjusted. So why does this feel different? Why are serious economists and technologists more worried about this wave than any previous one? Because every previous wave of automation hit physical, repetitive work, factory lines, manual labor, predictable tasks with your hands. This wave is hitting the brain. For the first time in history, the thing being automated isn't muscle, it's knowledge, it's analysis, it's writing, it's communication. It's the work that an entire generation of people went to college for, took on $40,000 of debt for, because they were told that was how you got a job a machine couldn't take. Microsoft's AI chief Mustafa Suleyman said earlier this year that most tasks in white-collar jobs, lawyers, accountants, project managers, marketing people, will be fully automated by AI within the next 12 to 18 months. Not the jobs, the tasks that make up the jobs. And here's the brutal part about that distinction. When AI handles most of the tasks in a role, companies don't always eliminate the role immediately. They just don't replace the person when they leave. They let the headcount quietly shrink. They call it efficiency. They call it optimization. And 4 years later, a department that had 12 people has 4. This is what's happening right now. Not dramatically, not all at once, quietly. Politely, in annual budget reviews and hiring freezes and reorg memos. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Amanda, 31 years old, customer success manager at a mid-sized SaaS company in Austin. She spent 5 years building relationships with clients, answering questions, and solving problems. Last October, her company implemented an AI support system. It handled 78% of Tier 1 client inquiries automatically. Response time dropped from 4 hours to 11 seconds. Amanda didn't get fired, but when her colleague left in January, they didn't backfill the role. And when another left in March, same thing. Amanda now covers what 3 people used to do. She's exhausted, she's underpaid relative to her actual workload, and she knows the next round of budget cuts will look at her department as an obvious target. David, 27 years old, paralegal in Chicago. Spent 3 years doing contract review and legal research. Proud of his work, good at it. His firm started using an AI legal research tool in 2025. What took David 6 hours now takes the tool 4 minutes. David still has his job, but they haven't hired a single new paralegal since. The 2 people above him who were supposed to become his mentors are now gone. His career ladder just disappeared. Marcus, 44 years old, graphic designer in Atlanta, spent 15 years building a freelance client base doing marketing materials, social ads, and branded content. His client inquiries dropped 60% between 2024 and 2026, not because his work got worse, because his clients discovered they could generate good enough versions of his work in 5 minutes with AI tools. Marcus still gets premium clients who want premium results, but the volume work, the bread and butter that paid his rent, evaporated. 3 different people, 3 different industries, 3 different versions of the same story. The job didn't disappear overnight. The ground just shifted under their feet, and the people who saw it coming had time to move. The people who didn't are now scrambling.
Here's where I want to be very direct with you, because there's a version of this video that just scares you and sends you back to doom scrolling. That's not what I'm here for. The people who come out of this period ahead are not the ones who are best at the old skills. They're the ones who adapt fastest. And adapting is not as complicated as it sounds. Move 1. Learn to work with AI, not against it. The fastest growing job categories right now are roles that use AI as a tool. AI knowledge, data analysis, digital literacy, and problem solving are the most in-demand skills across every industry in 2026. You don't need to become an engineer. You need to become someone who uses AI tools better than everyone else in your department. The person who figures out how to use AI to do the work of 3 people becomes indispensable. The person who ignores it becomes redundant. Spend 2 hours this week learning the AI tools relevant to your specific job. Not in theory, hands-on. That 2 hours could be worth more than 2 years of experience to your next employer. Move 2. Shift toward work AI genuinely can't do. AI is very good at structured, predictable, language-based tasks. It is still genuinely bad at human judgment, emotional intelligence, complex negotiation, physical presence, and true creative strategy. Healthcare workers, tradespeople, senior managers who make high-stakes decisions, therapists, salespeople who build deep, long-term relationships. These roles are not disappearing. They're actually becoming more valuable because everything around them is getting automated. If your current role sits in the danger zone, start building skills that move you toward the safe zone. Not eventually, now. 1 hour a day is enough. Compounded over a year, that's a completely different skill set. Move 3. Build income that doesn't depend on one employer. This is the financial piece that most career advice completely ignores. Job security and increasing use of AI are among the top financial stressors for Americans in 2026. And the people most stressed are the ones whose entire financial survival depends on one company's quarterly headcount decisions. An emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses is not just good financial advice anymore. In the age of AI disruption, it's career insurance. It's the difference between being able to say no to a bad situation and being trapped in one because you need next Friday's paycheck. Start building that buffer. Start a side income, even a small one. Diversify where your money comes from the same way you diversify an investment portfolio, because the risk has changed and your financial strategy needs to reflect that. Move 4. Stop waiting to upskill. 43% of workers worry that using AI at work could make their job obsolete, but only 6% believe AI will create more opportunities in the long run. Most people are aware of the threat, almost nobody is acting on it. That gap between awareness and action is exactly where careers get destroyed. The people who thrive through every technological disruption in history are not the ones who were born with the right skills. They're the ones who are willing to learn the new ones fast enough. Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, YouTube. The resources are free or nearly free. The information is all out there. The only thing that separates the people who adapt from the people who don't is whether they actually start.
Remember that Monday morning I described at the start? The meeting invite from HR, the subject line that tells you everything before you even open it. That moment is arriving for more people every quarter. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It shows up as a calendar invite at 7:14 in the morning. Here's what I want you to understand. This is not a reason to panic. Panic doesn't build new skills. Panic doesn't open a new income stream. Panic doesn't move you into a safer role. But awareness does, and action does. The people who look back at 2026 as the year everything changed for them, in a good way, are the people who saw what was coming and moved while there was still time, while they still had income, while they still had options. You're watching this video. You're already ahead of the people who aren't thinking about it. Now do something with that. Learn the tools, build the buffer, shift toward work that matters. Treat your career like an investment portfolio. Diversify, protect the downside, and position for what's coming next. Because the jobs aren't just changing, the entire economy is rewiring itself. And the people who understand that right now have a window to get ahead of it that won't stay open forever. I'm Jack, and I'll see you in the next one.